How about now? Can you guys hear me okay? Turn sound slightly. Any sound coming through? That's not coming through. So you can hear now. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. So give me a second just to make sure everything is in order. Alright guys, hello and welcome to our first exam results day live stream. Thanks for turning up. Sorry for the initial teething problems. So yeah, you guys seem to all be ready and raring to go, so we'll jump straight in. Feel free to ask any questions and either myself or your classmates in the comments or cohort mates in the comments will respond, and let's just see how this goes. Zaina, feel free, this space is for everyone. I would advise that you try not to dwell too much on things that you can't control when it comes to stress. Otherwise it just gets to you. It wears you down. And yes, Hamid, I do draw. I'm an art teacher, art and photography. And today I'm just going to be doodling, nothing too serious. Do I think they actually stick to the mocks? They seem pretty adamant on sticking to the mocks, so I think they will. And it turns out that the mocks, the way they communicated it was really unclearly. So everybody, well, it wasn't super clear what how it was going to work, and most news outlets and even me to some degree, the way we explained it wasn't exactly how it's going to be. Someone came out and clarified it, and a few papers have also clarified it, that the entire mock results thing is actually supposed to be that you appeal on the basis of your mocks. So you get the school to appeal to for you and say, well, in their mocks they got this, which I thought would have been the standard appealing case anyway from what I saw in the document. But yeah, so it's not an automatic you pick one or the other. It actually has to go through an entire appeal process. And I was actually just watching on the news, and someone was saying that if you do take the mock appeals process, there's a chance that you might actually have to take a gap year. Now we'll have to wait and see if that can be confirmed. But if that's the case, then that whole mock thing might be pretty useless to a lot of you who want to move ahead right now with your lives. How do you live stream without 1,000 subscribers? Oh, easy. You just have to verify your page. So just make sure that you're a real person. There's a way to do it. I can't remember how, but just Google how to verify your page, and that's how you do it. And you can't live stream from your phone. It has to be from a desktop. As a teacher, how do I feel about all of this? Well, I slightly feel disrespected, considering that we took ages figuring out your grades. ages, like ages, and we take our jobs very, very seriously. We're trained to do this, and we're trained to be professional. Yeah, we slip up from time to time, like anybody does, but we try our best to. So we graded you guys properly as far as we're concerned. So when someone comes out and says basically your grades don't matter, then of course as a teacher it's very frustrating and a bit disrespectful to us as well. As for how I feel about it in regards to my students and you guys, it's upsetting watching you guys go through this. I mean, back during my time period, I took my exams back in 2009. I think my GCSEs and my A levels in 2011. Back when I was doing mine, there was my A levels. There was a whole upheaval because they were going to raise the exam, raise the cost of tuition fees to 9,000 the year after I was applying. So everybody who was going to take a gap year suddenly rushed in, and it meant that getting to uni was a lot harder because there were a lot more people going for it. And even that we found frustrating and aggravating, and very unfair. But that's nothing compared to what's going on now. So I don't even have even a smidgen of an idea of what you guys are going through. It's insane. No problem. Hopefully we can do more lives like this in future, just on general stuff, not just on in times of crisis, I guess. Well done, Ruxa. Got your A. That's good. You were hoping for A, right? Or was it an A star? In which case, sorry you didn't get it, but still a very strong grade. Do I know why Scotland's taking a different approach? I don't know the exact reason, but I mean, people protested. A lot of MPs, such as Nicola Sturgeon herself, even said, "I get why you guys are mad." So I assume that's the reason why Scotland changed the grades. That everybody knew that there was an issue with it. Could see there was an issue with it, and of course, teacher grades are credible. It's literally what we're graded for. We do moderation for half our subjects for coursework, and in art, it's literally how we mark the work. It's moderation. So I don't understand what the whole fuss was about with that. It's literally what we're trained for. Imagine going to tell a pilot that they can't do their job, so stay on autopilot the whole time. How far back the mocks? They haven't given any details on this entire mocks thing. Nobody knows how it works. So sorry, I can't help you with that. Seriously, it's that's why this is part of the reason why everyone's so annoyed. It's just a random thing that they just threw out. Nobody knows how it works. It just seems really weird and random. Let's remove that. That's the wrong tone. A bit better. How's GCSE art going to be graded? It's going to be graded the same way that everything else was graded. Apart from with GCSE, with the art subjects, I'm fairly certain it should be, well, in my opinion, there should have been less room for change since most of your course was done already. But the government will do what it will do. I suppose it says 6 in art, but I'm not sure how they will grade it though. You're just going to have to wait and see. Audiology is a very cool course. You've been doing A-Level for 4 years. Sometimes you just got to take the hit. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's up to you what you want to do. But sometimes you just got to say, you know what, this isn't my first choice, but I'm going to make this work for me. It's really up to you, Ruxa. Haven't had some teachers for a whole year, so you're questioning how reliable your results are. Well, your work is still there, right? Teacher predictions and ranking have the most credibility in my opinion because teachers have seen you working throughout the year. It's way more credible than saying, well, last year this school got this, so this year they're going to get this, which is sort of what they've done. What am I even drawing here? I'm not even paying attention. This is looking weird. 2 finished portfolio but didn't do with our pieces. Will this affect your grade? Who knows? Depends on how your teachers were marking and what they were looking at. It's tough to say. When you art certain stuff, remember they did to some degree leave it to the schools to decide how exactly they would appoint the grades, what they would look at. So I can't really say what your school would have done, or what they won't count, or what they'll use against you. This thing is looking ugly as life. I don't know what's going on. Do I think there would be too much grade inflation if the grades were just given by teachers? No, I don't. I don't in the slightest. And the reason, well, there might have been a little bit, but the reason is, like I said, we do moderation. We grade you guys for stuff like your speaking, your art exams, your PE, your drama performances, your music. We moderate you for that anyway, and we're truthful with that. So why would we not be truthful? Surely we will be more reliable and see the stuff which exams don't necessarily pick up on. As in, I can tell which student is a 4 and which student is a 3. I can tell which student is an 8 and which student is a 5. I can look at a piece, a group of work, a body of work, or watch a student over time and be like, yeah, they're working at this sort of level, and the student's working at this sort of level. The U-turn is looking very unlikely. I think even Gavin Williamson came on the news today, I think, and either this morning or last night, and was just like, no, we're not U-turning, we're not having it. So it's very, very unlikely. Zaina, the majority of teachers will give honest results, honestly. The Key Stage 2 results, I'm not actually sure how that works. I've been meaning to look into that. Reason being is because many students don't even have Key Stage 2 results. Some students were homeschooled, some students came from different countries. A racist classist system, I understand why they call it that. Classists I definitely believe. Races can be a bit tougher to pin down, although race and class do often go hand in hand in the West. If your mocks were awful, then it just means that you probably won't be using them to appeal if you're going to appeal. Hopefully your teachers, and this is you, Happiness, that I'm talking to, hopefully your teachers would have seen through to what you're actually capable of. What am I drawing? I was trying to draw a face, but this face is looking ugly. Let's move on. Let's go with let's finish it. Stick to what you're doing. Any chance of upgrading? Highly unlikely. I think it might be a possibility in schools which have historically achieved very, very high, where the teachers have gone a bit too harsh on them. That's the only place that you'll probably see it. But in most of your standard comprehensives, especially if they're in areas where education is not normally which aren't normally seen as really good hotspots for education. This is not showing you guys a good example of my artwork at all. If you're in an area like that, then there's a very small chance that you're going to get upgraded. This is why they say that it's classes, because a lot of the best schools are in, or the schools with the highest grades are in richer areas, or they are private schools. Will they be similar to your predicted grades? No idea. The way schools do predicted grades can sometimes be, well, varies from school to school. Julia, you are right. To some degree. I mean, when I was a child, I definitely went to watch TV, but I also went to read a lot and learn a lot. Learning was a bit of a hobby for me. Always sort of has been. But you don't understand the ramifications of your tests and things like that. And that's the issue with using old data. People change a lot over time. People change a lot from 16 to 18, let alone from year 2 to year 11. What am I even doing with this piece? It's just all over the place. They jump from mocks and exams involved in this. What do you mean? It's a bit silent. Let me see if I can find a way to play music quietly. Still think it's a bit loud. I hope it's right. Do I think small schools have it better? They said it's supposed to be better for small schools. But yeah, you're right. I don't think they care. There's a reason why I don't think they care, but I'm not going to say what it is. GCSE results come in on the 20th of August. Your teachers get them the same time as you. Your schools get them slightly earlier, I believe, but your teachers themselves get them the same time as you. Thank you. This isn't the best example of my work. If you want to see my work, you can go to my website, but thank you for your confidence anyway, Julia. Can I get one grade appealed? You can talk to your school and see if they can appeal on your behalf. That might be an option, but like I said, with all this talk of possibly people that appeal having to wait till next year to apply for UCAS or whatever they're applying for, potentially, that's all the talk of appeals is just a bit unnerving. How are you guys going with your university places? Have you spoken to them, or your apprenticeships or your college places, wherever you're doing next? Have you spoken to them? Have you confirmed that you're all right, that you've got in? Oh, Zaina, trust me, you can improve a whole lot in a very short amount of time. At the beginning of year 11, I think I was still on pretty much a U for maths, and I ended up getting a A. Part of the reason being that I honestly was just like, I don't have time for maths right now. Let me just finish off my art and then tackle maths later, because I know that if I put my mind to it, I can do it. So this is why the systems were all a bit dodgy. It's not that they think that private education is best, it's that it's the only education they know. One thing that we learned very early on as teachers, Ed, is that our automatic teaching style when we come in is that we were taught in, the one that we were taught in. And once we realise that that's not necessarily the best way to teach, just because it was taught to us and we turned out alright, doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best way to teach. Until you break that down and break down all those assumptions that you had before, then you can't really improve, you can't become good at what you do. So what's needed is for people to say, just because something's happened before doesn't necessarily mean that it's, I'm giving up on this, I don't like this. Just because something's happened before doesn't mean that it's the right way to do things, which is why this obsession with sticking to what's happened in the past is so annoying, I guess. Situation welfare toss. If you're currently in year 12, you'll be applying for uni next year. I did mention this earlier. No. Basically, just like when, well, not just like, this is a much worse situation, but back when I was in year 13, that's when the Conservatives and Lib Dems came into power together, and they decided to raise tuition fees the year after. So it would have affected the year after me. So people planning on taking gap years didn't take gap years. People who were maybe taking a break and weren't sure when to start back uni, they suddenly decide, oh wait, I need to start back uni, otherwise my fees are going to triple. They're going to go up from 3,000 to 9,000. And so it was hard for everyone to get into unis. So, and even me, it forced me to change my choice of action too, because I wasn't going to go uni straight after school. I was going to go to do a foundation course instead. So basically what I'm trying to say is you guys will have more to contend with. You're going to, because of this appeals process and because loads of people resit and those people taking the autumn series, you're going to have potentially like, let's say 10, 20, 30%, probably, maybe, this is just an estimate, more students applying that you have to compete with. People who are older than you, who've had a year of experience, who've had a year to basically go out and volunteer, go out and work, go out and learn how to deal with interviews and stuff like that, while you guys have been in school doing what they were doing last year. Yes, from now on teachers will not mess about with mocks at all. We're going to make you take those super seriously, if we weren't already. I mean, I'm in art, so every single lesson is super important to me. So, but I know for other subjects, if they were a bit more relaxed before, they're not going to be relaxed anymore. Is ZTV? Possibly. And this is the issue. This is why we say go with the teacher grades, because the teacher grades don't pay attention to what went before. Does every young person struggle financially when going to university? Depends on your situation, so no, not everyone does. Sometimes I did, normally when I was careless, and other times I was fine. So it's all up to you and how you deal with things. It's what happens when you don't draw for ages. You just get out of practice. It's insane. Oh yeah, cooking with Debs, you're right. Well done to any students in A levels or doing AS levels who are in this chat. You guys did well, and you dealt with a lot of stress really well as well. Ed Ferguson, nope, I do not think there will be changes similar to that of Scotland. They are very against it here in England. What alternatives are there to university? You know that most people don't go to university, right? The system that we live in and society that we live in puts so much emphasis on going to university, as if you don't go to university you automatically fail at life, or that is the pinnacle of of your aspirations. But honestly, you can go to work straight away, you can go get an apprenticeship, you can go to another country and do stuff there. You know, it's the sky's the limit. You can start working for yourself straight away. It's up to you. If they change it for GCSE, should they do the same for A level? You'd hope so, but who knows? Do I think students will protest? Students will protest. Can you do an extra year of sixth form if you're not happy with your grades? Yeah, that was always the case. There's always been year 14s around the country. It's not unusual. Is it worth going to university if you are not doing the STEM subject? Depends. I didn't do a STEM subject, and I was very happy with my university course. Very happy that I went to university, even if I hadn't become a teacher, and even if I hadn't gone on to work in the arts, I still would be using my my degree left, right, and centre, because the amount of graduate jobs around, that just for graduates doesn't even matter what you do. What subject you took, there are plenty. So it definitely has its uses. Definitely has its uses. Why are they so against it? I think it's sort of, they don't like admitting that they were wrong. That's part of the reason why I think it's so against it. And I honestly, to some degree, think that they think that we favour you guys too much, us teachers. I think they see us as very emotional and unable to separate school from our feelings, and our students from our feelings, or fairness from our feelings. But who knows? I can't tell you the exact reason. That's just my opinion. Just letting you guys know. That's my opinion. Not representative of anyone else or any facts. You can feel sorry for us, but understand that for us, life does go on. For you guys, this is big stuff. This is big stuff. Life goes on for you guys, but you know, if it's not what you were planning, for us, we start next year and we continue, but you guys don't. For some of you, you have to spend another year trying to sort things out. You have to change plans. You have to go to different university. It's all I'm gonna say is don't worry too much about the teachers. That's what we're looking for, Ed Ferguson. We're looking. I think I'm saying your name wrong. Sorry about that. We're looking out for what the breakdown is, because if it's like Scotland, where the poor areas were getting dropped the most, that's when there's an issue. Maurice, you just gotta use gotta play around with Photoshop a lot, and you've got to use those online tutorials, those videos and stuff like that. I started using Photoshop when I was 13, stopped using it for a while and restarted back when I was 17, and then I just sort of worked on it day in, day out while I was in university, and I still don't even know how to do quite a lot of stuff on it, but I'm pretty good at using it for minor photo editing and of course artwork, which is not actually what it's made for. It wasn't made for artwork initially. Most students who have followed the British curriculum examinations from more than American exams. Zaina, students in other countries who took GCSEs and A levels are so badly hit by this. Some of the comments that I've seen from people are just like, we have no options to appeal, we have no options to retake years. What are we supposed to do? It's upsetting. Mahia, yes, Corona has done a number on the world, a real number on the world and on you young people. Will grades be similar for GCSE? I don't know. We just have to wait and see. GCSE and A level are completely different kettle of fish, and some schools are, which aren't all that amazing for GCSE, can be very good at A level. So it's once again a different kettle of fish. Apples and oranges to some degree, but not completely. I don't know about IGCSEs. I must say, I don't know much about IGCSEs at all. I've been meaning to educate myself on that. It's because none of the places that I've worked at had done it. The school that I went to myself didn't do it. So, yeah, sorry about stuff to do with IGCSE. I can't really help you much with that. Ed Ferguson, when it comes to your friend who got bad mocks but then got predicted 3A stars, there's probably a good reason why he got predicted the 3A stars. But remember that video that I did before? Ofqual even with this system, they haven't moved the grades that much. Most of them have been moved only by one, where they have been moved. So yeah, it's because so the teacher might have actually put through 3A stars, or the teacher might have put through 3As. So it's not that surprising that he ended up with that. By the way, a question to you, A-level students and AS level students: did your have any of your teachers told you the grade that they gave you, or did they say there's going to be a process for that? If I got a 5 in my GCSE mocks, is it likely I can get a 6? Umer. It's not likely, it's just a possibility. That's all. It's a possibility. Depends on your teacher, then depends on if standardization respects your teacher, if they believe that you were going to get a 6. Appeals process seems to make it so that, from what I saw on the news this morning, alright, so this isn't a definite, because they haven't made anything clear on appeals, but it seems to make it so that you literally, if you're appealing and you're basing what you're doing next on your appeal, then you have to leave the year blank. You can't really do anything with this year. That's how it's looking, but until they release more information, we can't be sure. So take that with a grain of salt. Do you think the education system favors white people? No. But listen carefully. I think the education system favors the economy, and I think because that is what it was made for. The education system was made for that. It's one of the first things that we were taught at university when I was trained to be a teacher. That it was literally made to keep the economy growing. So that's why school was made. But it will appear to favour the white populace because it favours Britain, because this is Britain. So it will tell Britain's side of the story. It will make Britain seem better. It will favour the way that British people go around, go about that lifestyle, and so on. So the more British you are, to some degree, it will come across as the more you're favoured, and to some degree that will be any race, if that makes sense. And the more wealthy you are with that, and the more you use your wealth in a way that the upper echelons of society do, then it will favour you there as well. Does that make sense? Will I be doing a live for GCSE? I will be. But I just remembered that I actually want to go into school, so it might be a bit later, because I want to see my students when they get their results, if possible. I'll let you know closer to the date though. The annoying thing is, because I'm not a YouTube partner yet, I haven't got 1,000 subscribers or 4,000 watch hours. Because I haven't got that stuff, I can't do that update thing which other channels do, so I can't let you know through that. It will have to be like through pinned comments or something, or as an announcement on Twitter, which is a bit frustrating. What happens if you become a person is not in education, employment or training due to results? Could you explain that a bit more, Maurice? Sam, welcome, and yes, I hope everybody did well too, or at least has a plan based on how they did. Newton, you can see if you can somehow go through the appeal, ask your school to go through the appeal system for it. Does it affect where you're going next, so your university choice or apprenticeship choice or anything like that? Does it affect any of that? This downgrading? Happiness, did you get your results online if you didn't get to go into school? Is wiggling off somewhere. Alright, you become a person not in education, employment or trained due to bad results. Well, you need to move forward. Anyways, this is what I meant in the promise video. You don't sit still. Figure something out. There's loads of people that can help you with that, whether it be your teachers, whether it be using resources online or anything like that. So, don't sit still. Don't sort of wallow, if possible, in the fact that you didn't exactly get what you wanted. Try and see what you can do to rectify this, or make it work in your favour. Let's put some warmth into this shadow. How can you have less social anxiety? Unfortunately, I am not a specialist in that area, so I can't give you any advice because I just don't know enough. There are resources for that though, Julia. As a young person, you can find resources for that online or through your local community, your council and stuff. Jessica, I feel bad for people in that situation too, because many people are in that situation, because that's just how people work. We know that the exams are the ones that matter, so we purposefully wait till then to really put our foot down and get to work. Bree, schools keep record of everything. This is the downside to being a teacher: the amount of admin and the amount of reports and the amount of data we have to sift through and stuff. So don't stress about that. We know what you've got. I put some note, then I don't think it's working. Let me see if I can take it out or change it up. This is still not going how I would like. This brightens a bit. As you last say, when your grades were submitted, will quarantine your work count? It depends on your school. Cooking with Debs, and I don't. It depends on your school. Alright, and I'll just sort of leave it at that. Gavin Williamson. I try not to get involved in I don't get involved in politics. Let him do his thing. I've always found it weird how a lot of people that run the Department of Education or the Ministry of Education don't actually come from an education background. I've always found it interesting and counterproductive. Now, Hamid, this has been a problem which I've wondered for a long time. Does your school affect your likelihood to get into certain universities? Do universities look at where you're from and be like, let's not take this person? And I think it's one of those things that, I don't know. I hope that it's not a thing, but society can surprise you with how rubbishy it is sometimes. Ed Frierson, a very good point, which I have been wondering myself. What happens if someone goes in and is just like, let me just tweak a little grade here? It's a bit weird. That's right, Hamid. Never give up. That's how it should be. You can tell Shisk's... I can't pronounce that. Sorry about that. Maybe you could break it down so I could pronounce it, like into phonetics. But Shisk or she's. You said I'm scared about GCSE results day. I got 3 4s in my mocks, but 100% my teachers predicted 4s and 5s. What would I get? Who knows with this standardization system? Honestly, who knows? You could be anywhere between the 4 and the 5, maybe even a 6 in some if the teachers could really see you ramping up those skills towards the end. Jessica, what do you mean by wouldn't you feel bad? Having what moderated? Oh, so you were talking to Ed. Biting myself into someone else's conversation there. 1 second, let me just check if I'm getting all the chats or where I'm just getting top chat. I think I'm getting everything. Ah, so Newton. I split this up because Noel brought it up. You went from AAA to AAB, so yeah. Have you spoken to your university if you didn't get the place? Cooking with Debs. Resets will not cost money according to what the government has said. They're going to put aside 30 million to pay for those resets, which, in my opinion, is exactly what they should be doing. It's not your fault after all. And technically it's not a reset, it's actually taking the exam for the first time. So they're paying as the school would normally for your first set of exams. And by the way, congratulations Newton on those results. AAB is still very good. I mean, I know that you were hoping for better and you were lined up to get better, but you put in the work and you got some recognition for it, and you know, it's still something to be proud of. Happiness, there is a very good chance that you will pass. A mock is a mock. Don't worry, teachers know what a mock is and how students react to it, and don't worry, is what I was going to say. I mean, there's always the opportunity that things could go bad in the ends, but I still say don't stress too much about it. I'm really not paying attention to this drawing. Should get 5 GCSEs. Hammond, do what you got to do. Sounds like you got a plan. And that's what I like to hear. Those of you who haven't got plans, try making one. In your own time, of course, but having a plan, 2 or 3 in fact. Always contingency plans or backup plans can help. And sometimes your backup plan can become your main plan. Because you see something that makes you go, hey, actually this route is pretty cool. Teaching wasn't my backup plan, but I didn't think I was going to get into it so young. But, you know, it was one of my plans and it came forward when the opportunity presented itself. So, you never know, that's what I'm trying to say. How much did teachers consider actually learn? You have to take that out with every single teacher. And Jessica, you're gonna have to take that up with every single one of your teachers within your school, because it's different from school to school. So unfortunately I cannot comment on that because my school will be how my school is. If you're gonna go to uni but you're gonna do the reset, I'm not sure. Do whichever one works out best for you. Don't forget, your summer exams will cross over with your first year of uni exams or assignments and stuff. So what you don't want is your A-level exams messing with your university course. Don't let things in the past come back and mess up things in your present or that are forming your future. So be careful, Sophie, is what I'm saying. Okay, be careful, Hammond, as well. Don't forget that a lot of college courses after you're 19, you have to pay for. You tend to have to pay for them or pay more. So factor that into some of your plans as well, depending on the route that you're taking. Marius, I'm really unsure, unfortunately, until they tell us more about how the appeal system is working. I can't really comment on that. Let's shrink this mouse slightly. We're one form behind with these. and there's already a slight delay. Let me try and speed up with answering these. All the best with that result, Zaina. Hopefully you get that 9 in English Lit. Exactly, Debs. Each school does mocks differently. This is one of the major issues that everyone's bringing up. Thank you, Ed Fresh, and I know that you were one of the early supporters of this channel, and I'm starting to grow. We are starting to grow, and hopefully it can continue. Although it might shift slightly the sort of stuff that I'm focusing on. I initially wanted it to be a art education channel, but it might be a little bit more general with a slight leaning towards art because that is my specialism. Although I'm open to suggestions on what sort of stuff to consider. But thanks for your support. Honestly, it means a lot. Never thought I'd have 500 subscribers. Could they refer to your year 10 mocks? Year 10 mocks almost definitely do not have all the content in it, which is messy. If they use the year 10 mocks, then they're literally using a small fragment of the course to grade an entire course, which is crazy. But who knows? Maybe that will be the case. Maybe they'll allow it. Oh jeez, let's move fast again. 1 second. How can I find apprenticeship vacancies? Oh, there are ways that there are sites dedicated to it. I can't remember what they are. It's been a while since I've been in school. Give it a Google, Maurice, or ask your what's that teacher called? The one that's in charge of the careers advisor. Ask careers advisor. There's lots about the government had quite a aggressive push on advertising apprenticeships actually, so the government website will probably direct you there as well. They're everywhere. Maurice, back in my day there were barely any apprenticeships. Now there's loads, and they can get you so much in terms of qualifications, and they pay money. Ah, nuisance. So you've just got the one qualification at the moment. You've just got the B. This is one that you're really going to have to talk to your teachers about, especially if you're applying. Wait. So so you've got the EPQ, and your other grades are all ASs then. Technically, the university should recognise that you were within this year, so they should leave you some leeway anyway. But yeah, talk to your teachers about that. Good, Hamid, good. And don't find it humiliating to ask for your parents to pay for stuff to do with your education, especially at such a young age. You know, a lot of parents will feel proud to support you. Maybe yours won't, but don't feel afraid to ask. But all that it has to be is that you can be understanding if they say no. That's all. As long as you don't expect it or demand it, don't be afraid to ask, because they are your parents. Thanks, Cooking with Debs. Thanks for the support. Looking forward to seeing putting out more content that you'll enjoy in the future. That's true, Ed Ferguson, but will I be able to help as much people if it's too general? That's the only thing. At least with art and with certain stuff, I have a pretty solid idea of, and that's what I want. I want to be able to produce good, reliable information that's useful to people. So I've got to be careful with what I post about as well, because I hate misinformation. Even the slight bit of confusion that was caused because of the way the government spoke about the mocks being used, and the way that I presented it, the way that the government did initially, and it caused a bit of confusion. Even that I'm a bit angry about. So that's why I'm careful. I teach photography as well. I'm an art teacher and a photography teacher, but I can teach most things. I did do supply for a very short while, but because I still read a lot into other subjects and still learn quite a lot and took my other subjects very seriously all the way, even through university I was still sort of looking at physics and stuff even though I was done with it. I can teach other subjects without any issue, and I have taught maths and history and stuff like that without any issue as well. Oh, Hamid, you're great. You saw it if it's free. Let's carry on going. Have colleges been told to be lenient with enrollment? Yes, they have been told. Or that's what of course is anyway. However you take that. Then Hamid, you are in such good hands. You're in really good hands. I'm literally not concerned for you in the slightest. You've got plans, you've got a good family around you. So sounds like you're alright. Into management and working in a big office building. Depends what sort of management you want to go into. I mean, you could just study business and management, or go into an apprenticeship that deals with sort of the management side of things. This is to you, Julia, by the way. A millionaire housemaid. Well, good job is a messy term. A good job is a job that makes you happy and which doesn't really cause harm to others, in my opinion. But everyone has their own definition of what a good job is. Money does not decide a good job. Do I teach creative media? I do not. Ask as many unrelated questions as you want. I'm going to be here for a while. I find them interesting when you do that. That's very true, Julia. That's why in my teaching I've tried bringing in, and my school's been pretty good with this as well, bringing in other stuff so that students have a better idea of what they can do in the future, or what's possible, or what they might want to. I haven't saved this. Oh gosh. Spelled that wrong, but never mind. Yeah, a lot more schools, and in my opinion, any good teacher will spend time with you talking about what the real world is like and preparing you for that. My own school wasn't amazing for it, but they did take time to do stuff like prep us for interviews. They even taught us how to like iron and fix cars and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. Would have been nice if they had taught us about mortgages and stuff. But hopefully I'll get a chance to teach that to my form, or at least like start on it. No problem, Marius. Anytime. You can send me an email if you want it as well, if you have any other questions, if you're not going to stick around. How did I get into art? I wasn't always that good at drawing, but I loved the concept art that you would see for games. When I was in year 9, I really loved concept art. So that's the art that is used to design characters and design locations, the feel of the entire game and stuff like that. And so I said, you know what, I'm not very good at art, but let me just get down to work and do this. And so every night I would practice. Every night up to 2 a.m. in the morning I'd be in my sketchbook drawing, and over time I just got better and better and better, and now I'm at a level which I'm happy with, but where I know that I still got lots to learn even as a teacher. I mean, like I said, you can have a proper look at my work if you go to my website, or to my Instagram, but you know, still, we never stop learning. and there's still loads to do. Hey Cookie, good to see you on here. Debs, you are perfectly right. This whole scenario does show us how we shouldn't waste time, how we should, but at the same time you can't be serious 100% of the time. There has to be times where you can just chill. And I know some of you did use earlier parts of the year for that. You wouldn't necessarily stop working, but you wouldn't be working at 100% because you know that you burn out. And this is what bothers me. Are we now going to be scared with us teachers constantly hounding you for work, hounding you and hounding you and hounding you? I don't want that. I don't think you guys want that either. Debs, art is dedication, but to be fair, being good at any subject, truly good, and being able to innovate and do really well in that subject will always take dedication. So people may say, oh, maths comes naturally to me, but does the higher level maths, does innovating in maths come naturally to you? No, you got to work and research for that. Can you go to school at 18? Depends what type of school and depends what qualification you'll be going for. If you're talking about GCSEs, probably not a standard school. You probably have to go to college for that. Jessica, where's your optimism? We can do this. Cookie, if you're aware that you're failing maths, that means that you can search for the solution. The solution's there. I remember when I got kicked out of, I know we shouldn't compare what's going on 10 years ago to now, but I remember when I got kicked out of the highest set in maths because I kept getting used in my tests, and it was all just about sitting down and just saying, I'm going to do this. For me anyway. This might not be a situation for you. You might even require a tutor or something like that, but the point I'm trying to make is that you can do it. It just might take some time and a whole lot of effort and a whole lot of determination. Just give yourself a chance. This is the problem, Julia, and I've read quite a few articles on this because this is a major problem in the art world especially, but it permeates throughout all industries, especially within the West, especially within the UK and in the US. This constant feeling bad when you're not working, as if you should constantly be working, and it's dangerous, and they say it's wearing us down, and it doesn't technically count as you chilling or resting because you're stressing about the fact that you're chilling and resting. I'm getting a phone call. Alright guys, I'm just going to mute a second. Missed it. Hopefully it wasn't too important. I get a feeling that it was, but never mind. Corporate maths, I've heard of that before, Debs. You know what? I've never used TikTok, but I am hearing that there's, if you use it right, there is lots of stuff of value on there. Interesting that you suggested that. I'll check it out as well. Do you have any other answers for Cookie's question? That is year 11 a lot of work or mostly revision? I'm a bit too old for this question. The exams have changed twice in the time since then, so I can't use my example. Debs and Julia just dropping all that knowledge. Those useful tips. Keep them coming. I forgot I'm even drawing. I'm so caught up in this conversation. Yeah, we'll leave that sketch how it is. I really hate that drawing. The first one I did. Let's move to another one. Let's make this person blue. Okay, now you said you got a grade 4 in year 10, but same when you did your GCSE. That's an exam, right? You say it was a waste of time, but did you do your homeworks in year 10? Did you turn up to class? Did you pay attention in class? This is not me talking about revision, this is just doing at least a bare minimum what you were supposed to do. Most definitely heads down. Yeah, see that, Noah? That's the key. You actually did work, and in my opinion, that tends to be how school is anyway. If you just do the minimum that you're supposed to do, there's a very good chance that you'll end up with at least a 4. But you were at least used to doing work, and you were present. You just upgraded that in year 11. The problem is that some students, and some of you here might even do this, and it's partially how I was in with my maths GCSE, which no doubt didn't help me. In year 10, they literally do nothing. They do not do their homework. They don't pay attention in class, and so when they come to having to work in year 11, they have to work way harder than a student who was even doing the bare minimum just to get to an acceptable standard. So consistent work, even if it's not your hardest work, consistent work does get you places and can set a precedent for hard work later on. So what I'm saying is, be careful with taking it too easy in year 10 or in the early stages of stuff. This applies for university as well in the first year, because I know for a lot of people, or a lot of courses, the first year doesn't necessarily count directly towards your grades. You just have to pass it, so that doesn't mean that you be lazy. Yeah, Julia, this is the problem with the number system, because it didn't match up perfectly. It made certain grades, even though it made certain grades feel worth less than they probably should have ended up being worth. And it's really strange. What happens when you can't fully equate two systems, and yet you bring the system in and compare people who got A stars to people that got sevens, eights, and nines. There's always a bit of weirdness there. Noah believes the hardest job in the world is parenting. I can believe that one. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for the rest of your life. Debs, all they can work with is the evidence they've got. That stuff happens in a normal year, and students end up with bad grades at the end of year 11. It happens. So, I mean, there's not really much that can be done in that case when your teacher leaves and one that's not as good shows up. Julia, kicking students out of class is problematic. It's an immediate solution, but it's not a long-term solution. There's a reason why we're not in a hurry to do it, put simply. But yeah, it can be frustrating to have students disrupting the classroom when other students just want to learn. Really annoys me, because it's selfish, simply put. But yeah, your attention should definitely be taken a bit more seriously. But at the same time, I'm still against forcing young people to take every single element of life so seriously. I think it's tiring. Simply put, Cookie, yes, what you said. Being actually good at maths, to be honest, it only takes you so far. Hard work still needs to finish off the job. Mahia, you might not be able to go to classes in your school, but I see no reason why you can't resit it. You'll have to confirm it with your school if you want to still do it there, but you can definitely do it outside, I think, as an external student. Let's go slightly warmer blue in here. So hot in this room. I think it's my laptop and my tablet. They're just overheating from all the processing, and it is burning me up. Can I be on the steps? I don't believe that in the slightest. I believe that you can be good at a number of things, and you can definitely be good at both maths and English. I've seen it. And I've experienced it firsthand. Same, no. I was bad at maths at first because I found it disinteresting and boring. When I sat down and really got into it, I had no problem. And got my A in the end. So it's all about just your attitude towards things and how you react to the stimulus. The app that I'm using, you mean the drawing one? This is Photoshop, yeah. I pay about £10 a month. Back in the past, you used to be able to buy it outright, but not anymore. Two to 3 A's at GCSE. A's don't exist at GCSE anymore. They haven't for a year or two now. It's numbers. Cookie, your Middleset do foundation? I always thought Middlesets were for students taking higher paper who just needed a bit of extra attention and time. Wait, should you retake Mahia? Should you retake if you got straight A's, but you were predicted straight A's? No. Well, my personal opinion, no. If you've got what you need to progress, leave it be and move on with your life so that you can, you have one less thing to think about. Don't like that. Still don't like that. Let's go for the green. Darker. Oh, straight B's. Oh, okay, alright, that's a different kettle of fish. If you got straight B's, see if you can find out what your teachers graded you. It might be worth it, but once again, it depends. Will it stop you from getting to where you need to go? That green's not working. Julia, the higher paper is a way to examine people with the possibility of getting any grade. You can get a grade 1, 2, 3 in a higher paper. What do I think the grade boundaries will be next year? Depends on how they do the tests. Depends if they make the exams a little bit easier. I don't think they will, in which case the grade boundaries might lower a bit, but there's a part of me that thinks that students are going to work super duper hard this year because of what has happened, and we're going to end up with a year of potentially super students who are just very, very intelligent compared to, unfortunately, you guys, because of this whole scare that they've had. And also, if you got those of your current year, so the current year 11s and the current year 13s, who are retaking stuff, you guys are going to push up the grade boundaries anyway. So yeah, grade boundaries might be higher next year, but who could say? Grade boundaries change every year, guys. They change every single year. Debs, that depends on your school. Your school decide where. I think it's up to your school, because after all, they can't teach 5 different lessons at a time. So I believe it's up to your English department. That's the way that they've made it sound. They'll decide whether you're doing poetry, whether you're doing Shakespeare or whatever. It's just you won't be taught all of them anymore. You'll be taught specific sections, and only have to answer specific sections. Getting back on track. Part of it, especially if you're still in school, getting back on track will literally be getting back into that school routine and setting yourself up. It will be hard now because things aren't normal, so it will be hard, but it's just about getting that routine down, pinpointing exactly where you need to improve, and then starting to make moves in those areas to fill those gaps. That's all I can say, Newton. Unfortunately, I don't have enough information to give you anything specific, but your teachers can help you a lot in this regards. So, use them. It's what we're here for. Even if they find you a little bit annoying, it's better to be a bit annoying than to mess up your life plans. After and before school sessions, from what I've seen on Twitter from other teachers, after school sessions might not be a thing for this year, for the beginning of this year anyway, because of the pandemic. So you'll have to wait and see how that turns out. I'm really struggling to put shadow on there. Meh. Let's put some hair on. What is the best advice I can give to an 18-year-old? Have a plan, but don't be too bothered by the plan changing. Work towards your goal and play it smart. Use others for help. Don't be afraid of asking questions. And it's alright not to have all the answers, because even people older than you don't have all the answers. Yes, no, GCSEs and A levels are completely different kettle of fish. Took me a short while to realise that too. What can run in GCSE cannot run in A level. That last minute revision sessions that can boost your grade, your grade by like an entire 2 grades. That can't happen in A level. You need solid, consistent work. You need independent thinking. You need to be able to go above and beyond what's expected of you if you hope to get those higher grades. There you go. Cookie gave a brilliant answer there, explaining how English literature works. Debs, yes, but lots of stuff will mess up your life plans. Lots of stuff can mess up your life plans. If your house gets flooded and stuff like that, it messes up your life plans. So that's why I said that, in that video, The Promise, I said this is unfortunately part of life. It's a shame that it's caused by people, this time, the inconveniences that have made things harder for you. But in the end, this did start with a non-man-made event. It did start with the pandemic. So, you know, we just have to try and make the best of a bad situation. Any advice for those starting year 12? We got quite a few year 12s in here. Could you guys give Julia some advice? Julia's currently in year 11, I believe. Okay, I haven't been following the BTEC as closely because I don't teach it. Sorry about that. Do you know when the BTEC results will be coming out, or have you just not going to get yours yet? Do I think being a celebrity is a job? I don't think being a celebrity is a job, because being a celebrity might not even gain you money. But the activities that celebrities take part in, so the book signings, the events, and the products that they and companies they make deals with, that's a job. So being an influencer, yeah, that is a job. That is a job. Is it a secure job? No. But there's many jobs that aren't secure. Where's my water? My voice is going a bit hoarse. Here, Gavin Williamson said they really don't want to do a Scotland. They really don't want to do a U-turn. So you never know. When it comes to personal statements, sell yourself. Really sell yourself. Like, say how amazing you are, but do it in a way which makes the person want to read right from the beginning to the end. I might do a video on that later on as we get closer to the times when personal statements go in. So that'll be September, October. I was promised thunderstorms today, and there are no thunderstorms. Great advice from Mahia. Don't waste it a second. Have fun. Take on feedback. Use your teacher as much as possible. Great stuff from Noah. Make a schedule, stick to it. Go back and revise topics. So don't just rely on just your basic initial memory. Really good stuff coming out here, guys. You say that, Maya, that no one will accept, but you'll be surprised. We've complained about more. People have complained about more all over the world, and nothing has happened. Or not happened for a long time. I don't think you guys realise, and this is a bit unfortunate that I have to tell you this, but you young people are one of the most mistreated groups in society. You don't have much power in terms of, you can't vote, you can't you're not listened to with the same strength as older people, especially much older people. The things that you do, no one really values until it starts making loads and loads of money, and they can take advantage of it. So, you know, it's I hate to be the bring off bad news, but there is a chance that as much as you guys complain, there is still a good chance that nothing will change, that you will have to deal with these results. Mahia, if you're a home student, there are places online, I believe, or even sessions that you can book with people who can take a look at your work. Cookie, thanks for coming. It was great having you here. I always appreciate your support, your comments and everything. I wish you all the best as well, so take care. Bye. Exactly. The attitude towards mocks is quite laughable. People don't take mocks as seriously. I mean, it's even in the name, mock, not real. It's why we have terms like you're mocking it and stuff like that, because mocks are always associated with a joke or things not carrying full weight. How hard are maths and physics A level? I don't know how things have changed. Maybe one of you guys can answer this for us, but maths and physics A level were horrendous back when I was your age. They were hard. Maths I did not enjoy, so I dropped that as soon as I could, but physics I did enjoy, but it was tough. It wasn't easy. And I slipped up at the end. It was supposed to be a subject which I got an A or A star, and I ended up getting a B, C, B in it. Or was it a C? I can't remember. So long ago. I need to go back and check. Mahia, I think there's a possibility it will be hard to get into next year, but that's not certain. That's not certain at all. Debs, that was my original plan, and I did do a little bit for indie films. I did do a bit of artwork for independent films and games companies, but in the end I just chose to go the teaching route. It didn't bring me the joy that I thought it would. As you might find with the job route that you take, that you get there and you're just like, wait a minute, this wasn't all the hype that I thought it would be. So yeah. No, you brave soul, taking both physics and A level and further. Sorry, physics and maths A level. Oh, I just checked. I've got 600 subscribers on the dot. Thanks, guys, for all your support. Honestly, it means a lot. Even though I might not sound super enthused because I'm literally melting in this room, it does mean a lot. You're in year 11 and you've already started revising AS Science. That is good. Don't take it for granted though. Still take your lessons seriously when you head back to school. Even if sometimes it feels like, wait, I've done this before. How long am I staying on for? I'm not sure. I might stay another. I don't know. I'll stay as long as you guys are sticking around for. As long as the number stays sort of above 10ish, I'll be here. Although I might take a break at some point and leave you guys just to chat. Arian, no, I don't think a lot of people are doing the same as you. I really don't. Although to be fair, I know they haven't had a holiday, but year 11 students haven't had to work for a long time. They haven't had to. So it would be a smart idea. How many have actually realised that would be a very smart idea is another kettle of fish altogether. Here, I thought I answered that. I said it's unclear. There's quite a few reasons why it might be harder, in that there's a lot more students applying that might be applying next year because of those resitting from this year, but otherwise other factors could make that a bit different. By the way, guys, I am not able to access the news while I'm here with you guys, so if anyone sees any announcements or anything that you think might be of interest, please just drop it in the comments, in the chat, and let us know if any announcements have been made or if the news is saying anything. Good question from Dr. Mo. Anybody else here think they're definitely going to do some of the autumn series? Julia, thanks for coming. All the best. And I really do hope that you get the grades that you want on next week. See you next week at that live stream, hopefully. Take care. 280,000. That's insane. Guys, just try and visualize 280,000 people if you can. In fact, let me just search what 280,000 people is. I'm going to search up, say, put it this way. The Arsenal Stadium, the Emirates Stadium, can hold 60,000 people. All right. So that's literally like 4.5 times the amount of people that can fit in the Emirates Stadium got downgraded. Imagine all those people's lives being negatively affected by this. And that should put that in perspective. Try not to think of these as just pure numbers. These are people. These are you guys. Julia, I am planning to do it again on GCSE results day, but it might be a little bit later because I'm going to try and go into school for my students. Noah, did you just say that private schools saw the highest rise in their top grades? I'm not going to comment on that. You guys can draw your own conclusions from that. But all I'm going to say is this is the sort of thing that people are complaining about. I have nothing against private schools, but a system should not favour certain groups. FRS Gaming, I don't know when exactly you'll find out how appeals will work. And yeah, Debs, it is one of those opportunities. Don't forget, GCSEs are the first set of exams and results that you get which properly impact on the rest of your life. It is literally the summation of the first 16 years of your life. So, yeah, I distinctly remember after GCSEs and after AS and A levels too, going back to certain students and going back to certain teachers and being like, I'm certain that you said that I was going to get a D or whatever. Well, this A star says otherwise. So, you know, that element's sort of gone. Joe, you said that your friend got A grades predicted and then mocks and got C grades. Did your friend ask their teacher for the grade that the teacher gave them? Because your predicted grades that you got before are different to the grades that the teachers gave at the end. Don't forget that. Don't assume that the teacher submitted grades are the same as your predicted grades from February or from before. Mahia, don't forget it's students that push up the grade boundaries. If every student does bad, the grade boundaries will lower. And if every student does good, then the grade boundaries will rise. Dr. Mo, you get working. Do what you got to do to get to where you need to go. Within reason. Just look after your health at the same time. 40% of A-level grades downgraded. It's appalling. It's almost half. Jessica, see you next Thursday. Take care. Thanks for coming and for the good points and advice that you gave. Joe, so you're saying that he got those teacher given grades. They told him exactly what they were. Did they tell him where he was on the rank order? Because that's a massive shift in rank order. If it's a full size class, that could be a massive shift. For top grades, private schools rose by 4.7%, grammar schools by 1.2%, and normal schools by 2%. well, that seems I don't know. To me, it seems a bit unfair. It really does. I don't think there's any way in which it should be so skewed towards private schools by such a large amount. That's literally double the amount of students. But when saying so, proportions, there's also we also need to not forget proportions. If private schools have much less students, I don't know, I'd have to take time to think about this. Like I said, I don't think I can comment on this right now. I need to sit and think about what exactly might have caused it to be skewed like that. What am I drawing? I'm drawing a blue person. No problem, Devs. Take care. I will see you next week. All the best. Thanks for all your tips, advice, and good conversation. Yeah, Joe, did you possibly go to school with this person or not? I'm not doubting you. It's just that is such a massive jump that I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out a reason why this might have happened. And I'm wondering if the issue might be that the teacher himself played it too safe and actually gave your friend a lower grade than he probably should have got, just to maybe try and protect your students. I mean, I doubt that's the case, and I think Ofqual might have just lowered him or her. But yeah. These drawings are so bad. They look so goofy. I am a teacher. Yes, Mahia, I am a teacher. I'm an art and photography teacher. I'm not sure. Scroll to the bottom of the chat or change the chat from top comments to all comments or something like that. And then that might be what the issue is. I mean, I know there's a slight delay for me. It takes a while for what I say to actually reach you guys. There's like a 5-second delay or something. So that's why I answer late sometimes. Or it appears I answer late. Mahia, I will tell you now. Schools care about you students. And even then, a lot of you will say that schools don't care about students. So universities care about you less than schools do. You are money to them, simply put. So yeah, understand that, and that's why you should use the student when you do eventually go to uni, if you do, use the student union when you need to, because the university isn't exactly designed, it's not a system designed to care and nurture in the same way that secondary schools are, because you see how hard it is for you to get cared for and nurtured in secondary school, how students fall through the gaps, how students can suffer for years without anyone realising and stuff. You see how easy it is for that to happen. Well, it's 10 times worse than the university. From my personal experience and what I've seen anyway. Although that's not to say that your lecturers don't care. A lot of lecturers are just like teachers and do care. But I'm saying the whole system as a whole. Can you show you that grades are higher than normal school overall because a percentage of students in private schools are on a bursary because of their grades? Okay, Isabel, that's a very good argument. This is Isabel saying that some of these students are just top level students. But the question, Isabel, is why is it jumping so much Why is it such a higher percentage than usual? That's where the issue lies. We're not saying that these students aren't smart, or that the schools are not higher ranking than other schools. We're just saying, why is there such a massive gap? Because there's smart students everywhere. There's those who missed out on the bursary but are at the same level as those students at the top. So what's going on there? And don't forget, whereas in private schools, students go in from all different levels. So some are low ability, some are high ability. In a grammar school, I don't want to generalize, especially because I don't know. I've only ever been to the school I went to, which was a grammar school, but a lot of the students in grammar schools, because they have to take a test to get in, a lot of them are at that higher level anyway. So surely you might see surely it should be a bit more on par with private schools, if what you're saying is the reason for that percentage to be so different. Yeah, Joe. He might have to appeal on the basis of mocks, depending on how that works. If it slows him down and stops him from moving on to his next stage of life, though, that might be a problem. 3% of A-level grades got downgraded by 2 or more grades. Smaller than I thought it was going to be, and I feel really bad for the students that were part of that, but that is smaller than I thought it was going to be. Although the fact that it says 2 or more, that is worrying. That's very, very worrying. Joe, thanks for having you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I really hope that your friend gets that sorted out, and all the best in the future. Mahia, you got downgraded by 2 grades. Eee. What subject was it for again? Sorry if you said it earlier and I didn't catch on. Emma, you're drawing 2. Good. I always like drawing with people. Like when I'm in class with my students, I love drawing at the same time as them. I might draw on the board or on a visualizer or something. How hard is the BMAT and the UCAT? Can anyone answer that for Dr. Mo? How hard is the BMAT and the UCAT? So that is a test that's taken for medicine and dentistry, if I'm correct. Isabel, I do have a Instagram. It is Hawthorne Arts, same as this channel. Let's get some orange in for that complementary colour. For that complementary colour, pop. Please guys, do not assume that this is my standard drawing ability. I just wanted something visual to go along with the whole thing, and something to do while I spoke to you guys for such a lengthy amount of time. Not that you guys aren't cold in my attention, you most certainly are. Throw a quick save on this. So when you apply for unis that require lower grades like ABB, are you more likely to get an offer if you apply with AAA? Potentially, but I can't confirm that. You'd have to talk to a lecturer or someone who's in charge of admissions at a university. But yeah, I assume that if your universities do want the top level students that they can take. So if a straight A student went for a course that was only requiring UUUU, why am I saying UU? They're not going to take it ungraded. That are only requiring CCCC. Then I know if I was them, I'd want to snap you up. I'd be giving you an unconditional straight away. I'd be like, yeah, come, because you can help us push up our rankings. And if you stick around and start doing research and stuff, and you're like really good, then that could even further push our rankings. And if you go on to get a job, then that improves at really good employment, that improves our rankings, because it means that our courses make, even though it's not the case, it will make our rankings appear that we spit out students who go on to get really good job prospects. So yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mo. If you want to see more of my work, feel free to go to my Instagram on my website. If you want to see my proper work, not my doodles like this. Nick, I got rejected from my university when my predicted grades were better than the required, but the university that had high requirements said to me, Nick, did you go for an interview at that university? Okay, Isabel, I'm going to take a second to listen to this. I'm going to mute my mic. Okay, I am back. So I just had to listen to Isabel's message, and it was a good message making a very good point. Will exams require coursework next year? Yes, they will. They will. If you check out my video on what Ofqual changed and look at the documents that are posted in that, which have Ofqual's changes for next year, you'll see how little changes from this year to next year in terms of how things are assessed. Oops, it's still green? Not green, brown. Okay, Isabel, I will. Oh, sorry. In response to you, Nick, for no interview, that means that they took issue with your personal statement, or even possibly, if there is a little bit of bias in there, they take issue with your school or the area that you're from, which can happen. So, Isabel basically said, because of the bursaries and because of the fact that private school years are so small, there's a chance that there's a lot of high quality students. High quality. That's a very terrible word to use. Of high grade achieving students within a year group because of the bursary scheme that lets them get onto there, and this is the reason for the grades being higher. Now, hi Hajap. And although I see this and it does make sense, once again, don't forget that in your school you will still find some students who are low ability and their parents have just paid for them to go there. So there will still be some sort of mixture. In grammar school, the mixture in most cases will be a lot less. Most students will be of high grade ability. So for example, the school that I went to, it had year on year on year 99% or 100% pass rate. A start to C. So what I'm saying is that technically that should mean that it would be reflected in the grammar schools as well. And don't forget, what we're talking about is I'm not saying that the private schools should not get those grades. I'm just saying, why is it such a high proportion that have gone up in the private schools as opposed to your standard comprehensive schools? Why are we, to some degree, I guess, trusting the teachers in private schools more than we're trusting the teachers in comprehensive schools? Does that make sense? Because that's essentially what we're doing. We're saying we trust these teachers more than these ones, possibly. Because at the same time, it could also be caused by the fact that comprehensive teachers were trying to be safe, so they just didn't put in many grade 9s, or sorry, we're talking about A level, aren't we? They didn't put in many grade A's or A stars because they were scared of being downgraded, or because they just didn't have those students. So there's that possibility too. There's that possibility too. So yeah, I think there needs to be a bit more delving into the data before we react too much. Before we react too aggressively, because now that I think about it, this why I said I wanted to think about it a bit more. I didn't want to comment on it too soon, but yeah, it's also up to the teachers too. What about subjects that have coursework in them? Drama, let's be performance based. Ed Frierson, take a look at the Ofqual document. There's a massive section on drama, which I couldn't fully wrap my head around. There's a lot of changes there, but you are still performing. But I couldn't fully wrap my head around it because I'm not a drama teacher and I don't fully understand how you guys do stuff. So definitely have a look at that, Ed. Mahia, if possible, ask for what your teachers graded you. Ask for what your teachers graded you, and maybe even ask for your rank order, if possible. By the way, Isabel, are you happy with your grades? Did you get good grades? No, it shouldn't go up. It shouldn't go up. To be honest, in this entire system, I couldn't see any way in which grades could be raised. Even though they said, oh, the standardization, your grades might go up. I was just like, how on earth is that going to happen? Teachers will always be more optimistic than pessimistic in most cases. So I could never see the grades going up. Ed Frierson, even if private schools did not exist, you will still have areas where just because the area is richer, students will, the schools will the students in that area will be able to afford tuition and stuff like that, and the school dynamic will be different to an area which is poorer and has different social dynamics. So even if you got rid of private schools, even if you got rid of grammar schools, you'd end up with a bunch of comprehensive schools which end up getting tiered into something which resembles private schools, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. People that go to private schools aren't prepared for the real world, working with people from normal schools. I argue that a lot. You are to some degree making assumptions of a group of people which you may not know. I don't know whether you know a lot of people from private schools, but that's a very, very sweeping generalization. Very, very sweeping generalization. So, yeah, it's tough to make a fair system especially within a capitalist society, or one that puts so much weight on money, or has such a massive gap between those with money and those who don't have money. Where would you find the document? If you go to my channel and you go to the video which says Ofqual confirms changes to ASA level and GCSE, or Ofqual's proposals confirmed, or something like that, you should find it in the description. It should be there. Exactly, Isabel. You're a prime example. And even so, why should a rich kid be seen as being less world knowledgeable than a poor child? The experiences are different, but we can't make these sweeping generalizations. And Isabel, as someone who went to a grammar school, to some degree, you might have to get used to. Well, you might already have experienced this. You might have to get to get used to people always assuming that you think that you're better than them, or that you are a kid who doesn't understand how the world works and stuff like that. It's part of it. And even if there is an element of truth to it with some students, you'll just have to learn how to navigate that. And this isn't me trying to have a go at you, Ed. It's just me just trying to get you to think of the different possibilities and different angles, because nothing's as straightforward as it may at first seem. You didn't get your required grades. Can your teachers appeal for me? Possibly. You're going to have to put that to them though, Dabarechi. You're going to have to ask them. I think with a lot of these, the best place to start is by asking your teachers, what was the grade that you originally gave me? And maybe where am I on the rank order? Although I don't think that helps you that much. But that's a place to start. And then maybe even asking them, can I then use my mock grades? But be aware that it might mess up your future plans if you do this, as in it might delay you by a year. There's potential for it. All right, let's try a new join a new character. We'll go down. What color should we go for this time, guys? What color? Well, I'll take a sip of water. Just throw a color in the comment, and I'll use that color as the base. Then Dabarechi, do your thing. Ask the teachers. Speak to your teachers, and also start thinking about what you might want to do in the autumn series, if you're going to do it then, or what you might want to do in the summer, if you're going to leave it till that late. QSI, I'm not sure about GCSEs. I'm really sorry. I know I should have looked into them, but because I've never taught them and never come across a school or never worked in a school that's taught them, I don't know enough about them to comment on them. And when it comes to using your mock grades, the government have come and clarified what they meant by that. It's actually using them as the base for an appeal. it's not just swapping them out, which is how they made it sound at first. And quite a few news outlets were confused and had to get clarification from the government for that. Yellow as a base. Okay, we'll do that. Can you apply for clearance into universities for next year? If all fails, you can always apply through clearing for a period after the results come out. That's orange, that's not yellow. What should we do with this one? I'm overheating again. Oh gosh. It's reaching midday. Well, it has gone past midday. And it's bright and sunny outside. Not a thunderstorm. Not a thundercloud in the sky. Good question. No. Isabel, I think you'll be able to answer that for us. What's it like, the difference between a standard comprehensive or even an academy and private school? Oh, my laptop's hot. I actually think I can cook something on this. This thing is so hot. That size for your music class isn't bad. My school, back when I was in high school and grammar school, we had around 6, maybe even less in our music classes. The arts tend to suffer in grammar schools though, from what I've seen. They don't get the same push as STEM. Maths is 14, that's a very good class to concentrate in for a maths class. 14 is a good number. Allows teachers to get around as well. I'm a big advocate for small classes, by the way, if you didn't know, because I think it allows us teachers to really reach everybody. Do I think they'll be lenient? They've been told to be lenient at FRS Gaming. They've been told, or of course they've told them to be lenient. Where they listen is up to them, but who knows? Who knows? FRS, I don't do much fan art at all, so no, I can't. I tend to just like making stuff from scratch, where they have some of the characteristics of those characters. Well, that can happen sometimes, but for the main part, yeah, I don't do fan art. And I haven't watched Dragon Ball Z in so long. Oh my gosh, it's been ages. Okay, the UCAS website crashed. They tend to have this problem on results day. It's not unusual. It happens. You just have to keep trying. How many home students get referenced and predicted on UCAS? I'm sure there was some guidance put out on this, but it wasn't very clear if I remember correctly. Simply put, I don't know, and I'm not going to try and hazard a guess until I've researched that possibly. Sorry, Mahia, can't help you with that one. Isabel, you get suspended for a week for any physical altercations. More than 3 fights in a year means getting expelled. Interesting. I'd have to think on that response to that. Expelling is a very, very strong punishment, and I don't think some people, especially people who haven't done the research into it, I don't think that it's fully understood just how destructive an element in someone's life expelling them can be. And are you sure it's expelled or is it asked to leave? There is a slight difference. Favorite anime? Ooh. Oh, it means getting expelled. Oh no, that's me reading an old comment. Favorite anime? I don't know. I've quite a few. I mean, Naruto is up there because it's one of the ones that really got me into anime. But Gurren Lagann is a serious one too. Attack on Titan, very good. Although we haven't seen the end, so I can't really put it up there. There's quite a few. I've got a nice broad spectrum. How about you? If you said if you got 5 in your GCSE maths mock, is it possible for me to get a 6? It is most definitely possible. It really is. But be ready for both possibilities. So the possibility that you might get 4, that you might get 5, that you might get 6, or anything outside, depending on how where standardization goes or what your teacher gave you. Isabel, yeah, asked to leave is different, and it's good that they asked you to leave first, because being expelled can lead to a whole host of problems, statistically speaking. I'm pretty sure I should stand up before I get thrombosis. I will in 8 minutes. I'll go take a break. She can't promise you anything, but you can try. And does that mean that you've already spoken to your teachers about what they gave you? Because don't forget, don't base this on predictions that you got early on in the year. You have to base it on what they gave you. Oh yeah, FRS, how can I forget Death Note? Death Note is brilliant. Death Note is one of my early ones too. And I actually rewatched it the other day. Very, very good anime. Appreciated it much more when I was older. Watching it as a 26-year-old instead of or 25-year-old instead of a 15 or 16-year-old, however old I was when I first watched it. You have good taste, FRS. Have I seen One Piece? I'm not touching that thing with a stick. That thing is long. One Piece is too long. And in one of my videos coming up, what does a teacher do or something, I'm gonna go over my anime selection choices. 1 mark off of 4 in my bio paper. In my year 10, I got a 65. Ume. This is in the hands of your teacher and then the standardization. I can't tell you anything, unfortunately. All I can say is try not to stress on it. Just wait and see what comes out. The thing is that, yeah, I don't know. It depends on what your school are looking at and how far back they went as well. Burnt sausage, you did. Oh, I'm sorry. Both rejected. Burnt sausage, I cannot advise you within this area. There's a lot of factors that I think you really, really do need to talk out with your teachers if you can, with your head of sixth form or whoever's in charge of transitioning to university. Both the firm and insurance is a real surprise. How massive was the difference between what you got and what you thought you were going to get? Mahia, do I think it's bad to start uni a few years later? Not at all. You could start uni when you're 50. You could start when you're 70. It's done. People do it. Okay, so honestly, if you're entering uni as a 23-year-old or 24-year-old, it's nothing. And when you're actually there, people don't even notice your age, to be honest. The younger students, and trust me, there are quite a few students which are older than 20 when you start. So the younger students who are like 18, they'll treat you no different to to whether you are their age or you're a few years older. Even if you're 40, they'll still talk to you, but they'll talk to you knowing that you might have a bit more experience, so they'll probably have a bit more respect for you. That's all. Ume? No, it's not. It's not. It'll be different for everyone depending on what they use, what your school used to decide those results. MR, you are correct. You can and often do get higher on your actual results compared to your marks. I very rarely see it the other way around. Consistently across all their grades, across all of a person's grades. Mahia, when I started, I was one of the youngest on my course, because with art, usually people take a foundation year and they go straight on. I didn't want to get hit by the £9,000 a year cost, so I went in a year early. And the university actually took me. They like my stuff and my grades. So I was a year younger than a lot of people there. I think about a quarter, maybe around a quarter, maybe a little bit less, of my year were over the age of 20 when I started. We had someone who was over the age of 50 in there. We had someone who was in their 30s, and we had quite a few who were in their mid 20s. So honestly, I spoke to all of them on a level with no issue. Was a bit nervous at first, of course, because I'd never been to college or anything. I'd always been in a school setting, in a sixth form setting, so that was more on my part. But once I came to realise that we're all there for the same thing, which took all of 2 days, yeah, it was cool. We all spoke, we all worked together on group projects. It was great. So literally, don't stress about it. And by the way, student, if you're there for the social aspects of life, the 20s and 30-year-olds were just as active in it as the 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds as well. Do I think if we protested enough, the government could do what the Scottish people did? I've got to be honest, I think it is unlikely that they will, but there's always a chance. Never say never, because everyone thought the Scottish government were going to just ignore the noisy young people, and look, they didn't. Isabel, good answer to Noah. It makes sense because you'll find that in normal schools even, that certain students, just because they're rich or just because other students are poor or vice versa, will pick on others for the same thing. So it doesn't surprise me that private schools just like that. Has some who are like that and some who don't. You find a mixture of people everywhere. Okay, burnt sausage. So need AAB, and I thought I'd get ABB. Whoa. If that's the case, what was your insurance? Was your insurance still a very high condition university, so one that still went very high grades? You still have to work a decent job after undergraduate course. After your undergraduate course, sky's the limit to what you can do. In your third year, you should start looking about, or even in your second year, you should start looking about for what you want to do next, whether it's an internship, whether it's going to be a work placement, work experience to eventually hopefully get a job, where it's going to be a postgraduate course, or whether you're just going to go straight into work. So, yeah. It's all about you, because don't forget, you're going to change a lot. You might go into uni wanting to do one thing, unless you're literally like a doctor or a medical or something. You might go into uni wanting to do one thing and come out saying, you know what, I'm going to go a completely different route because I'm not the same person I was when I went in. Your insurance had the same offer as your firm. Ooh, burnt sausage. Did your school or college not advise you on that? Yeah, usually you tend to make sure that it's one that you can get in to with relative safety. Like, so if you have a bad day, you'll still be able to get in. Yeah, so unfortunately, I will have to say that was a slight mistake. That was a slight mistake, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world at all. Just if you haven't got in, then I'm pretty sure you should be looking for places through clearing right now. If you still want to go to university this year, but otherwise, I guess you need to start prepping to either appeal through your school, or sit the autumn series, or I don't know, wait till the summer exams. Umair, I am a teacher, and no, I don't overpredict. I believe in doing my job properly. So as far as I'm concerned, I didn't overpredict anyone. Sixth forms are supposed to be lenient as well. Sixth forms and colleges. They're supposed to understand. Do my students watch my YouTube videos? A few do. Most don't know that I have a channel or care about it, which is fine by me. Umair, I'm not answering any questions on my own grading. Just know that it was fair and it was done professionally. And every grade that I gave was what the student deserved. Don't forget I'm an art teacher as well, so we have loads of data and evidence to work off of. Mahia, one thing you come to realize as you grow older is that people will do and say what they do. Especially as a teacher, we come to realize this. So, yeah, students can make fun of me or try to violate me as much as possible, but it doesn't work. It doesn't affect me. Burnt sausage, don't know. You have to wait for more information from the government and see how your school chooses to do things as well. Let's put some highlights on this thing. Exactly, Mahia. It's important to be able to laugh at yourself or laugh with your students, or ignore them. Try not to be too nervous, burnt sausage. You've done everything within your control, right? Or you're planning to do everything within your control, so just do what you can and then wait for the outcome. I'm sure I said I was supposed to take a break at past. Oh, thanks for subscribing, burnt sausage. Thanks for your support. Do I think lockdown will ease? No, from what I've been saying recently. It will take a little bit of time. Because some places are going back into a local lockdown, so yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time. But you never know. The world continues to surprise us. I really don't want to do much more with this piece. Alright, let's take a break. Oh, back in 10. Carry on chatting among yourselves, maybe even less. Depends if there's anything to distract me. Alright, catch you guys in a... Oh, wait, one more question before I go. How do you think exams will go next year if we have to go back into lockdown? All I'm going to say is that there's going to be a lot of lessons learned from this year. And I will tell you what I think is going to happen when I return. And welcome back, everybody. Okay, so since I've been away, EE7 Animations has said that you got a 6 in your maths mock, but before the coronavirus you did another mock, but this time we did T-papers, which we didn't do for paper 3. Got grade 5, will I get grade 6? Who can say? I mean, it sounds like you're around that area, so your teacher will probably, I say probably, but there's a good chance that your teacher will be comfortable giving you that a grade around the 5-6 area. But once again, you know, it's too tough to try and guess for you when I don't know you and haven't seen you at work and haven't seen your work and don't know how your school is assessing you, unfortunately. We're going for orangey colour this time. I've given up on trying to make anything impressive. But like I said, you will have some visuals. It's always nice to have some visuals to go along with the live stream. So anyone that's joining us now, tell us how you did. You don't have to tell us the grades, but tell us how you feel about your grades. Did they come out as you expected? Do you have any questions that you want answered? Do you know what you're going to do next? What university you're going to? Or apprenticeship? Or what job you're going to go work as? I'm really liking the way these cards work together. Okay, so let me just scroll back a bit and see if there's any questions that I missed. Okay, so how is it going to be assessed for home students? Once again, I am not completely sure. I mean, the last thing that I read about it, because I haven't read a massive deal about it, last thing I read about it said that something like they were going to compile evidence and send it into a centre where it would be assessed or something like that. I'm not sure if that's the standard, if that's what's going to be done for everyone. I don't know how exactly that's going to work and how it can be standardised. But I think it's going to be something along those lines, or it was something along those lines. So that's it, basically. It would be really cool to have someone who was homeschooled on here so that they could tell us exactly the process that they went through. I actually don't know why I haven't checked that on YouTube and see if there is anyone that gave that explanation of what they did. No, let's not do it like that. Let's see the whole eye. Mahia, are you a homeschool student by any chance, or is it because you're planning on maybe homeschooling next year? Oh, you and me both. It's caused nothing but problems. One of the only things that has come out of coronavirus is that it exposed a lot of the issues with society, made them more evident. Although if it doesn't bring about change, then what was the point? Feel free. I'm here to listen. So yeah, once again, because a few more people just popped in the last few minutes. Feel free to ask any questions. Let us know how you did on your exams, whether you're happy with them. Don't need to tell us the grades, but are you happy with them? Where are you going? What's your next plan? What's your next move? I know we're very interested in knowing. I'm finding out. I feel like it's getting hot. It's crazy. Okay, so just a quick reminder about an update, especially on the last video that I did. It turns out that the government, or whoever was being interviewed from the government, had basically told us the information about how mock exams are going to be used in a way that caused confusion, which is they gave the impression that you can just choose which one you want to use, when in truth it's that, and they clarified this either late yesterday or early this morning, that it was of course just going to be used as a basis for appeal, not as an actual replacement. So if you do appeal by means of it, there's no guarantee that you'll actually get that mock grade, I believe. Mahia, I will check that voice note. And I'll just pop on mute. Will international A-level students have the same appeal process? I must say, Abdul, I'm not sure. Oh, for the mocks, I'm not sure because yeah, I'm not sure. I would assume so that you can use that you can do it through your institutions, but it's your institutions that you're gonna have to talk about. That you're going to have to talk to about it. You're gonna have to go to them and say, hey, is it possible for me to do this? And don't forget, if they do say no, I think there is a procedure that you can go through to basically force them to either act or give a reason for why they're not, and then you can take it further that way. But my assumption is that you should be able to. How many universities are there in England? That's a good question. Why don't you Google it and let us know? Because don't forget, the big ones aren't the only ones. There's private ones as well. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry if I wasn't of much use, but yeah, this is such a difficult thing to deal with, this whole situation. Such a difficult case. Your birds sound cool, by the way. For sixth forms, you mean slightly overgrade or undergrade? Have been better. Honestly, it's unclear now because it's starting to look like it might even be a case where, well, people were already asking, is it our teachers doing anything more than the rank order? Is the rest of it literally just a computer saying this many people get this grade, this many people get that grade, and just applying it to the rank order? So the question is, would it even have made a difference if they had under predicted or over predicted? And I think that's part of the real question. Marie's the new version. The new version of Photoshop is way better. It gets better with every time, smarter, and it also does a number on your computer every single time it gets a new feature. Sometimes I can really hear the thing screaming, the computer. Are those the stats, Mahia? If those are the stats, that's... I think I need to understand them in context, because that is weird. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go for this sort of purplish colour this time. I'm on the smudge tool. There we go. Dabarechi, your plan is set out. What are you actually aiming to go and study anyway, Dabarechi? You too, Mahia. What are you planning to study? Aerospace engineering. Nice. Nice. Are you planning to actually go and work in that area, or do you just want to use it to go onto a financial job or something else entirely? English, creative writing, or ancient history. Very nice subjects. Very nice. And what area would you want to work in? Is that museums, law, or even just being an author, or an historian? Sorry, I'm just replying to a message. If you're wondering why my pen's not moving on the page. Alright, fair enough, Deborah. Because I know that, for example, my oldest brother studied applied maths, lots of physics, lots of calculations to do with space, and even that stuff interested him. The call of the financial district is very, very strong within, especially if you live within a major city or near a major city like London. Yeah, that's a good way to take life. Learning is always fun, and so is experiencing different things. Ancient Greece and ancient Egypt for your English coursework. Oh, you got a classicist here. But yeah, there's some really amazing stuff that you can do with art subjects. It's just how you do it. And it can be a competitive industry sometimes, but so is law. Don't see people discouraging people to do law. So you know, I'm glad that you're choosing to do something interesting that you really enjoy. Understood. History coursework is no joke. History coursework, I'm fairly certain is part of what made me miss my grade in history. Sure, it was the coursework. It will be tough, which is why I really do think that you should contact your centre and see how they can support you in terms of that. Stay positive. You can still get your grades. I don't even know what I'm drawing here. True in terms of powerless, but at the same time they'll have more knowledge than you do. And when it comes to stuff happening next year, they'll be the first to know. And they'll be the first to know how to support as well. At the moment, none of them can help anymore, but in the future they will be able to. So be patient and see how this ends up. That is too dark. No, too dark. So you'll still have coursework next year. From what I understand, yes. But I need to go back and recheck for which subjects. But yeah, you should still have coursework next year. Honestly, your course has barely changed. I was surprised. Alright, Portgus, what did you say? You got 6 in maths, Mark, and was still for Mark 7. You need a 7 in your maths to get into the course that you want. Is it likely or unlikely that you'll get the 7? Whoops, sorry about that. Who could say? that's becoming a common phrase for me when it comes to these. It's very unclear now. It could swing either way. You could get 5, you could get 6, you could get 7, or if standardization messes you up, or depending on how your teachers grade you, it could be higher or lower. You'll be submitted to your centre, I assume. Yeah. Like I've said before, when it comes to Scotland, it's when it comes to Scotland, it's hard to say because Gavin Williamson has really been resistant to the thought of doing what they did. So I personally think it's unlikely, but certainly not impossible. Certainly not impossible at all. monsters I have created. I really do think teacher predicted grades are the most accurate of the sets of grades that we're going to get, but they're really not keen to use them unstandardized. So Portgas, you're waiting for your GCSE results. Are you going on to college, or are you gonna stay at sixth form, or what? What's the plan? And if anyone's got any questions for each other, for people in years that are above them or below them, feel free to ask as well. Will every exam centre do the autumn exams? Alright, here's the weird thing. The question is, can every exam centre do the autumn exams? Because what was implied when the autumn exams were and the autumn series was first announced was that every school has to offer it. Every school has to offer it. But schools are just like, first of all, we got coronavirus, so we're not behaving as a normal school would anyway. None of us are. And second of all, this, even in normal situation, this would clash loads with the current students that are in school. Because don't forget, a lot of these students taking these exams would be students who are now external. They don't go to the school anymore. So you're getting more bodies in the school than would normally be there. So this is one that we're really waiting for. But everybody should have access to the autumn exams. And from what I've seen on BBC News, the government's put up £30 million to pay for that. Because after all, why should you have to pay for your own exams when you never sat the first ones? So they're not even resets, that the actual exams that you should have taken that would normally have been paid for by your school. Honestly, what am I drawing? I don't even draw cartoons. Why am I drawing cartoons? Anyone here know what exams are going to take? Whether you're in A-level or AS or GCSE? I'm sure some of you GCSE students already have an idea of where you're at. All right. So Joe says it's worse here than it was in Scotland, so we could really do with a revert to the teacher selected grades. Would be nice. I am actually slightly surprised that my computer hasn't crashed yet. Normally OBS, that's the software that I use to stream Photoshop. Normally it crashes after a short while. Probably because my computer overheats, who knows. But it's holding up pretty well. I am still live, Debs. I did say I was going to be here as long as possible. I know some people had places to go before they were able to come on. So I'll try and stay on for at least 20 minutes more. Okay, YY, do you think the grades... Thank you, Debs. Do you think the grades appeal will be switched to teacher predictions? I do not think the grades appeal will be switched to teacher predictions because they're so adamant that it won't. They really don't want it to be switched. So, unfortunately, although it's unlikely, you never know, because it was unlikely in Scotland and yet they still went ahead and did it. So, we can stay hopeful. We can stay hopeful. Let's keep going. I'm going to shrink this down. It's a great finish, actually. It's looking a bit dodgy. Do I think he's going to resign? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether he will. I'm not sure whether he should. I just know that there's a lot of people angry with him at the moment. I'm not as angry as I thought I'd be. I'm more sort of stuck between frustrated and confused. Managed to get 8 A's. How are you still getting A's? Are you a GCSE student or are you literally taking 8 AS or A levels? Oh, 7 to 8s in GCSEs. In all of them? Oh, hi there, Joel. How long appeals will take for GCSE? Okay, when I was watching the news earlier this morning, just before I started the stream actually, it was about 10 minutes before, somebody came on, I think she was a teacher, a head teacher or something, and she said that students that appeal, if their next stage, wherever they were going, so whether it was university or onto college or wherever, if it depended on their grades, they would have to reapply next year to start university in September 2021, in which case it will take a short while, long enough for you not to be able to use what the results are from the appeal to get into university this year or go into college this year or anything like that. However, nothing official has been put out regarding that, so don't count on that necessarily being the definite case, because just like yesterday with the whole thing with the mock results, it could just be that something's been misunderstood and that's how it's looking. So wait for more information on how the whole appeals thing works. And YYB, you'll be surprised. Quite a few people thought they were safe. Thought that, oh, I can deal with one grade lower than I got, and they ended up getting 2 grades lower. It can surprise you in all the wrong ways. 4 8s, 4 7s, and a 6. Good set of grades, that. Let's hope that your live ones reflect that. Your real ones reflect that next week, or better, even. If it looked like you were gonna, oh my gosh, this head looks so weird. If it looked like you were gonna do better at it. Right, I've given up on you. Let's go to the next one. No greens in here. Let's go for a green one. So you were on an upwards trajectory. That's good. That's good. That's good. That hopefully gives your teachers a reason to give you a grade around that 7 or 8 mark. Do you think it's worth personally appealing the result if my school is actually trying to contest it for me? You can't personally appeal. You literally can't. Your school has to do it on your behalf. And if you have an issue with your school, then you have to complain about the school, which is a completely different kettle of fish. But yeah, I don't think you can personally complain. But at the same time, that makes me wonder, so what happens for private students or homeschool students? I still find that whole you can't complain thing a bit weird. I mean, you can't appeal thing a bit weird. Hopefully you do get the 7. But like I said before, be prepared for the situation that you might not get the 7. Have a plan for both sides, just in case you do, just in case you don't. Can never be too prepared. Okay, Dr. May, if I have to appeal to the grades in my school, we have to pay for it. If they don't change the grades, they keep the money like school. It's not the school keeping the money. I think the money's going to the exam boards because they have to pay for people to actually go and look over them. Remember, this is work that you're making people do, so people have to be paid for it. I'm not sure how much the cost is of appeal. I need to look it up. I have heard some people say the amounts are extortionate, so but I'll have a look. Why? We have no idea how the entire mock grade system is going to work. They haven't made it clear at all. They've just sort of said, oh, you can use them as a base, and that's it. So everybody's waiting for more information on that, including, I think, a lot of teachers and schools. So it's not just you. Could be fun too, but for science they are different from me because the thing with Dr. May, the thing with the grades like that is that, well, actually, I don't know. It depends on how you score. I've graded it. We can't speculate. We cannot speculate. Well, we can, and to some degree we do, but we try to keep it to a minimum. Oh, my energy is dwindling. I don't know why. Might need to go eat. Alright guys, so I am going to close the stream in about 12 minutes because it seems that most people seem to have got what they wanted out of the stream and you guys seem to have had good conversations. So I'll just keep drawing for a short while. Anyone who wants to ask any more questions or discuss anything else, feel free to just throw it out there and we'll discuss it. Even if we do go over time slightly, I don't mind. But yeah, it's been good. Hopefully this sets some of your minds at ease and helps you develop plans for what you're going to do next, and also helps you decide what you're going to talk to your teachers about, because as you probably garnered from a lot of my answers, a lot of this will be stuff that you need to ask your teachers, or it will be in your teacher's hands or your school's hands, or it'll be stuff that they're in the best position to help you with. So yeah, like I said, drop any questions if you still have any, and I will answer them. Still a bit annoyed that I didn't get my thunderstorm. So the last 10 minutes. So once again, if you have any questions that you want to ask, be sure to ask them now, whether it be to your fellow cohort mates, your fellow students who are here in the chat, or whether it's to me, and we'll do our best to answer them. No problem, Emma. Alright. Any advice for AS students during the holiday? Start planning what you're going to do next. Start putting it into place. Start revising if you need to. And yeah, go for it. I know I was going to wait till 45, but I think I'll finish it off now because the heat's starting to get to me. But thanks again, guys, for coming. Thanks, everyone. Remember, you can comment on any of the videos. Send me an email if you have any questions or anything like that as well. And be sure to pop into one next week, Thursday, as well, after the GCSE results. It might be a little bit later, but I'll let you guys know. If you want, you can also follow on Instagram or Facebook. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We've got loads of videos. I think I'm up to 96 videos now that you can peruse for your own enjoyment and your own information. But yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. That's all for today. Until next time.